Hello, everyone. Welcome back to lesson 5, I believe. And in this lesson, we are finally going to start creating our first digital scrapbooking page. We are going to be using Affinity Photo 2 on the iPad. At this point, we have covered settings, downloading supplies, organizing everything, and getting familiar with the Affinity Photo workspace. And now it's time to all put it together and actually start scrapbooking. We'll be using the template and supplies from the GingerScraps 2025 Welcome Wagon. So when you head over and look at the Welcome Wagon now, you will see all different items, but don't worry, there's tons of beautiful stuff in there. You can also head over to the shop and purchase any of our amazing products. You will not be disappointed. We have so many great things in there. The first thing that we did is opened up Affinity Photo, that purple icon, and we are ready. We're in our dock and we're going to open and import a document. I have my products for this class in an Affinity Photo tagged. It's tagged with the word Affinity Photo. So the first thing I'll do is open up that template. I'm going to use this Best Friends Miss Fish template. So now it's opening up, and if you see my two fingers, little two blue dots, that means I'm using my fingers. I'll be using a combination of my fingers, my pencil, and the mouse. I'm trying to use the mouse the most so that you can see what's going on. So when you have your iPad open like this, and you open different things like your photos, for example, and then you flick up, it hides them, but it doesn't close them. So that's what we need to do for each of the things we're going to be using, which is our photos and our files. So your files is where your scrapbooking supplies are. This is where the template is. We'll go over to the Affinity class and we'll get our Panda Dreams kit ready and loaded. So I'll flick it up again to bring it like that. Now I'm at the bottom of the page down here, and with my finger, I'm going to draw my finger up like that to make all of these windows that I've recently opened show. Now I can take my finger and hold down on that until it can wiggle like this, and I'm going to carefully bring it over here. So now it's docked over there. I'm going to do the same thing with this files where we have our Panda Dreams kit that we're working with. Right here I can wiggle it around, pull it over. When it gets skinny like that and it's docked, you let go. So now those are in the dock. So now I can go back down to the Affinity Photo icon right here, press that, and you see how all of the things that we just opened in the side are now in this sidebar. We'll be pulling that. I'm touching the edge right here. I'm touching it with my finger and I'm gently pulling it closed. Now if I want to open, I'll just pull with my finger, open it up. Now when I want to get to my photos, I'm going to go down here at the very bottom. Let me get my mouse over there so you see where I'm putting my finger. Down here near this black bar, I'm going to get my finger and kind of carefully move up like this. And then when you do that, you'll see how your other things popped open. Do you see that? So now I can select photos, and I'm going to go to the album Affinity Photos. Those are the photos I'm using for this class. So then when I want to switch between the photos and the supplies, I'll do that again and pop over to the supplies. When I don't need one of these here anymore, so I have them all open like this, I don't need this for the templates. I don't need that open right now. So I'm just going to quickly flick up on it and it'll close it. Flick. So now it's gone. And then we'll go back to this. All right, so now we've got our doc ready and our template ready. I'm going to go over to Affinity. I'm going to close that real quick and click on the Move tool so that it's ready for me to drag in my photo. I have the blended photo right here, highlighted because that's the layer that I'm going to drop my photo into. So now I'll pick the photo that I want. I think I'll use this one. You can't drag over when it's in a full view. See, it's not going to let me do it properly. That's like cutting it out weird. Adding it to like, so anyways, you want it on the thumbnail view, and then you can highlight on it and it will be wiggling around and you can drag it over. So now it is on my page and it's in the layer above the blended photo. So I can kind of get it generally where I want it to be. And I can see that it needs to be a little bit bigger to get that whole blended photo in there. And now the photo layer is highlighted. You can see that's the photo layer right there. And when I click it and pull it down, I can this will arrange it, bring it up or down in the layer stack wherever I drop it off. But I want it to clip to this blended photo layer. So I'm going to wait until hover on it, and when it turns blue, that means I can let go. And now it is clipped. You see how it clipped that on there? I'll unclip it real quick so you can see that just in case you missed it. So now it's on top of the blended photo. If I want to hide this layer, do you see how there's a little dot right there? I can just click that and that hides the layer. Now I'll do that again. I'll grab the layer, click on it, and then wait until it turns blue and let go. And now it is clipped to that blended photo layer. Now if I want to move it around, I want to make sure the photo's highlighted. And now I can, using the move tool, I have my Apple Pencil, and I can click on the photo anywhere and move it around and get it in the exact spot I want it, which looks to be about there. Now I'm going to collapse this right here. Do you see this little arrow up right where it says blended photo? You can see that that has a little arrow. That means there's like a grouping. So you can click that and it will be grouped. If I want to move this whole entire thing, I want to have the layer I clipped it to highlighted, and then I can choose to move that whole thing around. It will move the layer I have it clipped through and the photo itself, or the item that's clipped to it. And now I don't want to do that, so I'm going to click undo and bring it back up to where it was. And I'm going to collapse that. So now we can start moving things around, decorating. I'm not a quick scrapbooker. I do this for fun. Obviously, it's just my fun, enjoyable hobby. So I'm not speedy. I take my time. Right now, I notice that I want to move this grouping of clusters, and I don't want to move them one at a time. So sometimes what I'll do to make this a little bit easier than guessing is I'll start hiding things that I'm not trying to deal with, or hide the things I want to deal with. So now I know every single one of those items that I want to move are invisible. I can easily select. You can either drag, like I showed you earlier, by putting your pencil in a layer and dragging sideways. That will select them like that. Looking for each layer that is turned off because the little circle over the layer is not on. You can see that one's on, this one's not on. The last one is this one, I believe. And now what I'm going to do is actually group all of these layers together. And you don't have to do that. I could just move them, but this is the easiest way to do it. So now by clicking that little button up there, right here, that grouped all of them. This icon right there is to group. So now, do you see how it made a group right there? It's showing nothing because everything is hidden within it. Now I can turn all these back on. And it is a grouped item, so I can select the group just by having it highlighted, and now I can move the whole thing. I just thought that was a little bit too high up, close to too high to my chin. So I'm going to move that roughly about there. And I want to move this little label inside of it, so I'm going to highlight those two things. So for now, maybe I'll put it up here with this. If I want to do that, then I'm going to want to grab those two. You see how a little two popped up when I'm holding on to both of them? And I'm going to take them out of the group by pulling them all the way up on top of this group. So now they're no longer grouped with the original group I just made. Now they're right here. I can select them both again and move them around wherever I want them. And now we can kind of get a general idea of what the page will look like once we start pulling elements in. And all of these little, I'm pulling up again to get to my supplies. All of these little flowers and these are just placeholders. You don't have to put those exact things there. That's the beauty of a template is it's a great placeholder to show you, examples of things and how to make the page look perfect. I'm going to do this background paper. This is the very most background layer. It's a white piece of paper. Let's see what we think would be cute for that. You can open it by clicking it, and then you can scroll through by swiping if you want a larger view of each of the papers or different items. I do want it to be something kind of plain because there's already going to be a lot going on. So these are plain papers. I could just do plain white. I kind of think this one's cute. So again, you can't pull it over when it's in the full view. You need to pull over the thumbnail view. I'm just going to grab that paper and pull it in and drop it. And then roughly get it on there to see if I even like the way that paper looks. Not 100% sure. So anyways, you'll just keep doing this, dragging and dropping whatever papers you want. I might just keep it plain white. Now I want to make sure this paper is in the center because, you can move it around as much as you want, but it might be hard to get it exactly centered. So I'm going to get this piece of paper and go over to the transform area, alignment options, and put it in the center, vertically, center horizontally. Now that paper is perfectly centered. I can do the same thing with this one. And now we know those two papers are perfectly centered. And I can go back and forth, just kind of toggling them off and on, deciding which one I like more. We're going to keep that for now. Now let's look at the inked edge. The inked edge is this inking all the way around the page. You can pull a piece of paper onto that, and then the ink will be that color. Let's go with, I think either blue or pink. Let's see what the blue looks like. Again, you'll want to bring that over to the alignment and get it aligned. And then back to the layers panel. And then I'm going to take that blue paper and drag it onto the inked edge. So now the ink is blue. You can also change that color. I made this blue paper invisible. You can use the FX Studio to do a color overlay. So turn that color overlay on right here. And then you go up to the top up here, select this black dot that's going to select the color. And you can do an eyedropper, or you can choose different colors that are in swatches for all different kinds of things. But I'm going to use the eyedropper and then pull it down, and you can use any color you want. Like, I'm doing this as an example, but you can use the eyedropper and then it will do a color overlay of pink. You can choose different blending modes like multiply, overlay, darken, color burn. You might know about these if you use Photoshop already, but I am going to stick with normal, and that's what that would look like if I just use the FX to do a color overlay. I'm not going to do that for this specific layout, but I just wanted to show you how it works to do that. So I'm going to take a pause right here, and I will come back. We'll do part 6, which will be continuing this page. I just need to take a break, and I'm getting too sleepy. So I'll see you again soon. Okay, happy scrapping, and I can't wait to see what you create. I will talk to you soon. Bye.